This is one of the most outrageous things I have heard in a long, long time.
In a case that has been filled.
And looks at Wendy and says, you know, you had a great career. Your career is over. It is never coming back. You're done. Why would a judge?
What happens when your entire empire of betrayal collapses overnight? That's the brutal reality now hitting Kevin Hunter and longtime mistress Sharina Hudson as Wendy Williams' fortune slips through their fingers for good. For over a decade, they lived like royalty, allegedly plotting to bankroll their future on the back of a woman they both left broken. But when Wendy's talk show ended in 2022 and a court-ordered guardianship locked down her accounts, the cash pipeline dried up almost instantly. Now, insiders say Kevin has been hit with a financial collapse so severe he's unloading luxury assets and dodging lawsuits, while Sharina, once flaunting designer bags and private brunches, is reportedly back to hustling just to survive.
It happened, you know, the banks froze everything up. He was not in a position to pay $10,000 a month.
This downfall wasn't random. Sources say it wasn't an accident at all, but a calculated grab that backfired spectacularly. Kevin had been receiving a reported $250,000 per month from Wendy post-divorce, a sum that evaporated the moment the guardianship took effect. By 2023, legal documents confirmed what many already suspected. The money was gone, and Kevin was out of options. One judge even denied his attempt to restart the alimony, ruling that Wendy had no obligation to continue payments under the terms of their settlement. With his legal efforts collapsing, Kevin pivoted to an aggressive lawsuit, this time demanding $250 million in damages, not just from Wendy, but from her guardian and even Wells Fargo, alleging a massive conspiracy to cut him off.
I mean, I take accountability for my actions, you know, for what's obvious out there, obviously out there.
But here's where things get even more twisted. While Wendy was battling health issues, being shuttled between facilities, and losing access to her own life, Kevin and Sharina were allegedly building theirs with Wendy's money. Sharina Hudson, the same woman Kevin kept hidden for over a decade while publicly managing Wendy's career, reportedly gave birth to his daughter in 2019. Insiders familiar with the timeline say the affair had been active for over 15 years, overlapping with Wendy's most vulnerable periods, including hospitalizations and rehab. And it wasn't just a fling. Kevin reportedly purchased properties for Sharina, funded her lifestyle, and helped launch her vegan chef brand using Wendy's resources. Then came the collapse. With the talk show off the air and Wendy placed under guardianship, the monthly checks stopped. Kevin claimed in court that he was unable to pay basic bills, including HOA dues, car insurance, and credit card minimums. UBS Bank filed suit against him in mid-2024 for over $20,000 in unpaid debt. Around the same time, public records showed he was pawning off high-end vehicles and listing the Florida home he once shared with Sharina for over $1.2 million. Despite the luxury price tag, neighbors say the property had fallen into disrepair, another sign the cash was gone. Meanwhile, Sharina didn't disappear completely. According to sources, she deactivated her social media accounts and relocated, possibly back with family, after being overwhelmed by the fallout. Gone were the days of Instagram glamour shots and designer promotions. She resurfaced later in 2025, promoting real estate services, wellness products, and small business consulting. One source put it bluntly, she went from Gucci to gut cleanses. Insiders also say Kevin and Sharina began drifting apart during this time, with tensions reportedly rising over finances and their future. Some claim Kevin even stopped contributing to expenses for their daughter, sparking further strain in the relationship.
With the Arkansas, I've always spoken to her, and she's always wanted me to spend her money.
Public opinion hasn't been kind. Social media users widely labeled the unraveling of Kevin Hunter and Sharina Hudson's lifestyle as karma. For years, fans of Wendy Williams had suspected the affair, But it wasn't until the Lifetime documentary aired in early 2024 that the full extent of the betrayal became undeniable. Viewers watched Wendy struggle with confusion, speech difficulties, and limited mobility. Meanwhile, those closest to her were allegedly negotiating brand deals, scheduling film crews, and selling access. Sharina's name wasn't mentioned in court, but her absence from Kevin's side during his legal crusades did not go unnoticed. Even as Kevin tried to reframe himself as Wendy's protector, claiming in a federal lawsuit that he was exposing financial abuse within the guardianship, most observers weren't buying it. Legal experts noted he had no standing to sue on Wendy's behalf, especially after their divorce and without a current legal role in her affairs. Still, the filing made headlines, dragging court-appointed officials, medical professionals, and banking institutions into a storm of accusations. In a twist that shocked even longtime observers, some of those allegations began aligning with behind-the-scenes reports from Wendy's own family and friends.
The judge in the Guardian.
The judge in the guardianship read Alex Finney, the Riot Act, threatened her and said, "You're talking," making an accusation that she's talking to the media, and if you continue doing it, I'm going to do this to you, I'm going to do that to you. There is a gag order in this case. I can tell you that the judge has scared a lot of people in this.
According to court records and interviews, Wendy's guardianship has raised eyebrows since its inception. Though it began after Wells Fargo froze her accounts in 2022, citing suspicious withdrawals and fears of exploitation, the arrangement quickly escalated. By 2024, Wendy's niece, sister, and son were all publicly expressing concerns about being shut out. Her guardian, attorney Sabrina Morrissey, allegedly blocked family visits and sold off Wendy's Manhattan apartment. While Wendy reportedly begged to leave the assisted living facility, calling it a dump and accusing staff of over-medicating her, Kevin was suing the same system for cutting off the funds he had once relied on. The irony was unmistakable. The very structure put in place to prevent Wendy's exploitation may have indirectly revealed just how many people had a financial stake in keeping her silent. Kevin's lawsuit, whether sincere or strategic, pulled back the curtain on who's been getting paid, who's been locked out, and who might be next. And while Sharina's name has stayed mostly out of court filings, insiders claim she remains connected behind the scenes, particularly regarding the few remaining assets tied to Kevin's name.
And by the way, the judge doesn't know what she's talking about. I mean,
By the way, there are a lot of people clamoring for Wendy to actually get back on the air and to have a show again.
When did this judge become Roger Ebert? I mean, I'm serious. Wendy Williams is a hot commodity right now. I can tell you from our Tubi documentary, it attracted a lot of attention. She's done interviews with major outlets.
But if the downfall of Kevin Hunter and Sharina Hudson feels like a full circle moment, it might only be the beginning. As investigators dig deeper into Wendy's guardianship, examining sealed documents, insider testimonies, and financial trails, new whispers are emerging. Allegations of money mismanagement, backdoor dealings, and unauthorized sales of Wendy's personal belongings have begun circulating. Sources familiar with the ongoing court motions suggest that a previously unknown trust account may have been accessed without Wendy's approval, potentially implicating multiple parties in a broader financial scheme. If true, then Kevin and Sharina may not be the only ones counting on Wendy's silence to protect their world from collapsing. Behind the messy headlines and public meltdowns lies something even darker. While Kevin Hunter and Sharina Hudson scrambled to pick up the pieces, the guardianship meant to protect Wendy Williams is raising alarms of its own. Multiple sources claim the real beneficiary of this arrangement isn't Wendy. It's the woman paid to control her. Sabrina Morrissey, the court-appointed guardian, reportedly earns hundreds of dollars an hour, all billed directly to Wendy's estate. That means every court appearance, every legal document, every denied family visit generates profit. The longer the guardianship remains in place, the longer the money flows. Kevin's federal lawsuit demanding $250 million may sound outrageous on paper, but in his filings, he laid out a chilling theory.
This wasn't a medical decision. It was a setup.
And I can't figure out, why is there a gag order in this case? That Wendy can't talk about her circumstances? Why is the judge doing it?
That aside,
there is something
that's even
way
Kevin Hunter alleged that a network of high-powered lawyers, banks, and guardians colluded to freeze Wendy Williams' assets, remove her access, and divide the spoils, leaving people like him, who once lived off her income, cut off. It's a stunning accusation. While his motives are clearly entangled with self-interest, parts of his case align with real concerns raised by Wendy's own family. Several close relatives have spoken out about being shut out of Wendy's life for months at a time. Her niece, Alex Finney, and her sister, Wanda, claim they hadn't been able to contact her freely, saying calls go unanswered and visits are blocked without warning. One longtime friend described the guardianship circle as a pack of opportunists, circling Wendy like vultures, not to help, but to harvest. Even Wendy's cats were reportedly taken without her knowledge, and her apartment was sold at a loss. The image being painted isn't one of care, it's one of control. Meanwhile, on the other end of this twisted chain, Sharina Hudson's fall from luxury is turning heads. One seen stepping out of Ferraris and rocking designer labels, allegedly funded by Wendy's money, Sharina now appears to be clawing her way back from the brink. She's reportedly taken on multiple hustles, pushing real estate listings and nutritional supplements while keeping a low profile online. Industry sources who previously dealt with her describe a woman in total despair, realizing too late that her role in Kevin Hunter's plan was never secure. She thought she was winning, now she's just surviving, said one insider. That despair may be bleeding into a relationship with Kevin. Reports suggest tensions are rising, especially with mounting financial pressure and no steady income. Kevin's failed lawsuits, Sharina's business struggles, and constant public backlash have allegedly taken their toll. The house they once shared in Florida is listed, luxury cars sold off, and according to one former associate, Sharina quietly moved out to live with relatives, possibly marking the end of their relationship entirely.
I am so excited to introduce you guys these pancakes with only 3 ingredients. Baby, when I tell you these things gonna be so...
Insiders aren't just talking about Sharina Hudson's location, they're focused on her mindset. Multiple sources close to the situation say her spiral isn't just financial, it's emotional. One former friend describes her as withdrawn, ashamed, and visibly shaken during a recent encounter. Sources whispered that Sharina's nights are haunted by the empire she helped destroy, turning her hustle into a desperate bid for redemption. She allegedly underestimated not just Wendy Williams' longevity, but the legal machine that has now frozen everyone out. What started as a calculated play for luxury, some believe, has become a personal collapse wrapped in regret. There's growing speculation that Sharina never imagined the guardianship would last this long or lock down Wendy's assets so completely. According to court experts, Wendy's financial lockdown is among the most restrictive seen in recent celebrity cases, making it nearly impossible for outsiders to exploit or access her wealth. That reality reportedly blindsided Sharina, who many believe had emotionally and perhaps financially banked on Kevin Hunter's continued access to Wendy's income. Without it, she's allegedly left with nothing but fallout. The psychological cost is beginning to show. Associates claim she has become deeply paranoid, constantly worried about surveillance, lawsuits, and media exposure. She's reportedly burned bridges with past friends, cut off communication with business contacts, and avoids events where she might be recognized. One source noted that Sharina now moves like someone waiting for the next blow to land, suggesting even she fears what else might surface from her years alongside Kevin Hunter. This isn't just guilt, it's anticipation, and it may be revealing cracks in her once calm exterior.
He was with me, begging forgiveness, telling me to take a moment, and he would see it, and we were meant to be together.
Some believe Sharina Hudson is grappling with a deep identity crisis. For over a decade, her entire image was tied to being the quiet power behind Kevin Hunter, the one who allegedly knew how to stay invisible while still benefiting. Now, that invisibility has turned into isolation, and without Kevin's legal backing or Wendy Williams' money, she's reportedly struggling to find footing. Her attempts to pivot into entrepreneurship have largely fizzled, and whispers of mounting personal debt have started circulating. That strain could soon bring her into the crosshairs of legal scrutiny, especially if Wendy's estate decides to trace any misused funds or unauthorized transactions tied to her name. Legal analysts monitoring the case suggest that future financial probes, particularly those triggered by new medical reviews or court challenges, could uncover hidden assets or expose undisclosed transfers from Wendy's accounts. If Sharina benefited from any of these moves, even indirectly, she could find herself dragged into a new wave of lawsuits. While no formal complaint exists against her yet, the climate is shifting. One industry insider put it bluntly: in high-profile guardianships, the further the fall, the wider the net. If these psychological cracks widen, could Sharina flip the script and expose even darker secrets about Kevin Hunter's plots? It's a question echoing louder as her silence stretches on. In this scandal, everyone once seen as untouchable is now just a few bad headlines away from collapse. The person who knows the most about what Kevin did behind closed doors may also be the most desperate to cut a deal before it's too late.
I feel like the Guardian has not done a good job of protecting my mom. As long as she has people around who are yes people, I know that she's not getting the help that she needs or getting better.
But this isn't just a personal drama, it's the echo of a much bigger betrayal. When Kevin Hunter chose Sharina over Wendy Williams, he didn't just break a marriage. He allegedly helped initiate a spiral that left Wendy vulnerable, isolated, and without access to her own fortune. The documentary footage showed Wendy struggling with confusion and detachment, yet still begging for freedom. In one scene, she dropped a note from her assisted living window that simply read, "Help, Wendy." That cry hasn't been forgotten. Now, as the legal walls begin to crack, more people are asking whether Kevin's infidelity and Sharina's involvement were just symptoms or part of the cause. It gets worse. New whispers suggest even deeper manipulation within the guardianship. Multiple unnamed sources, including 2 former employees connected to Wendy's inner circle, claim there were internal power struggles between Wendy's guardian, her former publicist, and past managers, all allegedly jockeying for influence, while Wendy drifted further into silence. Some of these individuals were reportedly shopping media projects about Wendy's life, raising uncomfortable questions about who really benefits from keeping her story in limbo. At the center of it all is Wendy herself, cut off, medicated, and monitored. Fans remain divided. Some believe she's ill and needs protection, while others think she's being held captive under the guise of care. Regardless of where you stand, one fact is undeniable. The people who once orbited Wendy for love, loyalty, or money have disappeared, leaving behind lawsuits, documentaries, and silence. And yet, the chaos hasn't slowed. Kevin Hunter's latest legal moves hint he's not done trying to claw back into Wendy's financial picture, despite courts repeatedly shutting him out. Sharina, once groomed as the next chapter of his life, now seems to be operating alone. Her name stripped from Kevin's social media, her presence erased, but insiders believe she may still have secrets to spill, especially if her situation continues to spiral. One former stylist who worked with her in 2019 said, "If she talks, a lot of people are going to regret underestimating her."
Is he this gangster that behind the scenes is that him? Or is that
Shout out to Wendy Williams.
So the question now becomes, who else was in on it? If Kevin Hunter and Sharina Hudson weren't the masterminds, who was? And how far does the web of exploitation reach? While some names are public, others remain hidden behind sealed court records, confidential settlements, and legal non-disclosures. There are whispers that even the documentary producers, some of whom were paid by Wendy's estate, were more interested in exposure than rehabilitation. If that's true, it means Wendy Williams, the woman who built her brand on exposing the secrets of others, has become the most exploited story of all. As Kevin drowns in legal battles and Sharina reportedly spirals into deeper despair, one thing is clear: this scandal's web of schemes and karma could ensnare more players. But will justice ever truly free Wendy from the chaos? Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you think really happened behind the scenes. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell. This storm is far from over.